Hey everybody, today we are going to be attempting a carbon cleaning on this 3.8 BK2 Genesis coupe. Just a little background about the car. It's got 90,000 miles on it. Been running this catch can for about maybe 30,000 miles. The reason we need to do this carbon clean out is because this is a gasoline direct injected. Doesn't have port injection that sprays fuel on the back of the intake valves, so they get pretty carboned up and can cause all sorts of issues. There's a lot of videos out there on this and haven't really seen any for Genesis coupe. There's one out there for a sedan, but so we are going to be taking off this intake, and then possibly, if I can't get to the valves, I may have to take the lower plenum out as well. So once I get this off, we'll see what it looks like, if I can get in there. And I'm going to be walnut blasting these today. Right now I got the shop vac, some walnut media, and I have the sandblaster gun that I got off of Amazon. Got a boroscope that I had laying around, a couple cans of cleaner, some automotive tape, and I did have a compressor. A lot of times you need a decent sized compressor to do this, something that's gonna something this size. I'll show you right now. So it's gonna take something at least this big. I think it's like 30 or 40 gallon or something like that. Even this thing, when I was testing out this blaster, got this off of Amazon. Got the regulator from Harbor Freight. But even with this, testing it out, kicked on. Seemed to keep up with it pretty good, but I mean, you're definitely not going to do the job with something like this. So we're going to get right into it. To get this plenum off, I have to take off these 210s to get the wire loom loose. I have to take the intake valve off, or the intake off, take loose this and the brake booster line and the PCV, and then the map, and unhook the throttle body back here. And then also, normally there would be a couple of coolant lines to take loose, but I've done the throttle body bypass, so that should come right out. I'll probably have to take this 10 out for the bracket. But other than that, and then you have 8 bolts, these 2 up top, 6 around the side. And then if I have to take the lower plenum off, it's I think 8 6 millimeter Allens. So we'll see once I get that far. All right, so right now I got the upper intake manifold off. Looking down in there, definitely gonna have to take this lower manifold off. Those are the 6 millimeter Allens that I was talking about, and got to be careful that each one of them has a little sleeve around it, and it's kind of to center it. Some of them come out, some of them stay in, so you got to be careful and make sure you don't lose them. And then also to get it off, I got this coolant line that I got to take off. And other than that, it should come right out. All right, so we got the lower intake plenum off. Just be really careful because I blasted the whole engine bay with compressed air, and there was still a whole bunch of dirt in these pockets right here. And luckily there's only one cylinder that's open. So I know that the passenger side is bank 1, and not exactly sure the number of the cylinder numbering, but for this video, I'm just going to refer to the left bank as 135 and bank 2 as 2, 4, and 6. So we'll take a look at number 1 first. So that's the number 1 cylinder. Quite a bit of buildup. And then we'll go to cylinder 3. See if I can get a good shot there. And cylinder 6, and this is pretty much what I expected. This is like right below where the PCV valve goes in the upper intake manifold, and it's got the most on top of the valve. And then we got cylinder 2 and cylinder 4 and cylinder 6. So right now I got the intake masked off, everything you unplugged, all your vacuum lines, PCV line, crankcase ventilation should all be taped off. Basically even the map I taped off, and any of the plugs should be taped off. So now I have I'm definitely gonna rotate the engine and then watch. I'm gonna start with 1, watch it open and then close, and then you also have like a compression stroke and power stroke before it's gonna, an exhaust stroke before it's gonna open again. So I'm just gonna go through that whole cycle on each cylinder just to make sure they're closed. But this one, cylinder 5, that's what it looks like when it's open. Quite a bit of a gap, but all right, so I've rotated the engine so that cylinder 1, the valve's all the way closed. And some of the videos I've watched say that you wait till it stops moving and then you go 10% more, turn the crank 10% more, just to make sure that it's not moving. And then all the other 5 ports taped off. And so now I'm gonna work on getting some of those bigger chunks out with these hook and pick set that I got. And then we'll be off to the walnut blasting. So for the walnut blasting, I also got this piece that goes up against the port, and I modified this piece of foam so it actually fits tight in my shop vac, and then the blaster will go right through that hole, And basically you can walnut blast the intake valves while simultaneously vacuuming it up. So shouldn't be that much of a mess. We'll see. And let's get to it. Okay, so we're all done. And here are the results. This cylinder 1. So on this here, I had to end up about cylinder 3. I started doing chemical, close it, fill it up, let it sit for about 5 minutes, and then do the zip tie and the drill, like this here. And that seemed to get, and then got it all out, and then walnut blasted, and that turned out a whole lot better. These two, this one was basically good just going in dry. Picked out some big chunks with the hook, and then went in with the walnut blaster. Picked some more, and then walnut blasted. And then by the time I got over to these ones, getting a whole lot better at it. So, cylinder 6. So a whole lot better. Excited to see the results on this, how the car feels, how it idles. And a couple things I ran into. There's a little coolant passage right there. And make sure when you're walnut blasting, you don't get your vacuum too close to that. It'll start sucking the coolant out of there. Other than that, it went pretty smooth. Even with the walnut blasting, I still had to do a fair amount of picking, especially on the back side of the valve stems. And I did use a wire brush. Before I was doing the zip ties got the sides of the runners real good. And the walnut blasting barely even touched the sides of the walls, the runners and that. So I was scrubbing them manually, and then decided to do the zip ties. And I didn't even have to scrub these, didn't even touch them with a brush or nothing. So the zip ties basically took all of that off the sides. All right, guys, that's it.